Welcome to my third attempt at trying to make this review. I had everything away of this video. So my name is Susie. I'm Susie Courage Designs. That's me. I'm going to be talking about Caliart, however you say this, dual tip brush markers. They're water-based markers, which means the pigment or the color dye ink in here is in a water-based instead of an alcohol-based. And what does that mean? It means it's not smelly. It is not generally not toxic. It's washable. It's blendable. So we're gonna do a little discussing of that here in a little bit. They come in this container, this little container like this. Round container. I got the white barrel. They look like this. Sorry, I'm flipping around. They look like this. This is their brush. The brush nib of that. I'm sorry, I got a new stand and I'm making all kinds of stuff. So the brush nib and then fine tip. See your fine tip, or I can do it like this. Fine tip. Do the brush nib again, and then the brush nib, so you can see that brush tip. A lot of time these are used for like calligraphy. I don't do hand lettering. I would love to do hand lettering. I've tried. I don't have the patience. I haven't forced myself to sit down and really practice. But today we're going to go over just really quickly how I plan on using these. I have not seen a lot of reviews online for these. I don't know if people are just not doing it. I know the Ohuhu markers are really popular. I'm going to dump these out on the side so that I can dig through them. I'm going to hear all that noise here. Sorry. I put them off to the side so that there's stuff falling. Everything is falling. The markers are falling. The sky is falling. The cats are falling. Let's get these. My chair's making noises. All right. Welcome to a raw video with me. So, as you can see, I've tested these before. I've tested them here. Let me get this out here. And I've tested them here. I tested them against the Tombos. I don't know if you can see what the Tombow is, but here's the Tombow. See, a Tombow is water, but this Tombow is water-based. And they have the brush nib. And then they have a fine tip nib, which is different. The fine tip nib on the Tombows are a little different, but we're not talking about these. This is all I have of Tombows. Definitely would love to get more, but they're a little more expensive. So I like to craft on a budget when I can. And these Caliart, these are very affordable. I got them on Amazon. I don't remember how much I paid for them, but it was probably no more than $20, I think. But I have got these. I don't think I have looking for my block. Oops. I don't have a tub to put these in. So, they're like all on my desk. They're a mess on my desk. So, water-based. We went through water-based. These are not like alcohol markers. Obviously, alcohol markers have an alcohol base. Alcohol markers blend differently than these do. Let's put this on here so I can do another. Let's move here so I can do another. Let's pick a color. I've been doing a lot of oranges and pinks. I want something that's going to look nice. Well, I guess purple is one of my favorite colors. So we're going to go here. If you hear a cry in the back, my cat's having his afternoon crisis for whatever reason. With alcohol markers, I'm no colorist. I'm not professional. Just purely my experience with these are, you have to give them time. Otherwise, the paper will pile up. Even on watercolor paper, I am using, just so you see, Canson XL mixed media paper that's made for acrylic, watercolor, pen, and pencil. Canson is a favorite of mine. I have a couple different Cansons. I have one that's specifically for pen and ink, which I'm going to be doing swatching my stamps. I'm going to start swatching out my stamps and stuff like that. You can see I've got all kinds of ink. But my thing is when you're dealing with most, except alcohol, because alcohol likes to blend better when it's a little wet. And if I ever go to an alcohol marker review, maybe I'll invest in the Ohus. Maybe Ohu will send me some, and I would love to review them on camera. But I see with watercolor, like I laid this down, and you see I've waited a little bit. They kind of, for me, in my experience, and you don't really see it in, I mean, if I were to keep coloring on this, obviously it would go through, but this is a pretty thick paper. I did color this a while ago and let it set. This is very heavy watercolor paper. And if you're going to be using water-based, don't forget water being the primarily word here, water-based markers, or like treat it like watercolors, invest in some really decent watercolor paper. The thicker the paper, like I got these in a craft box. I want to say Simon Says Stamp, like craft box or whatever. This is from a previous, and this is really thick. You can hear it. This is pretty thick watercolor paper. It came like this with I don't know where my pack is. I put them away, but it has several different covers, and there's a rough side and then a smooth side. Tim Holtz watercolor paper does that too. I have some of his around. He has really good watercolor paper. But it definitely worth investing, or some heavy duty. If you're just going to be playing around, heavy duty mixed media. Canson, I know they do a watercolor paper. I know some of the popular ones, like I watch a lot of Christina Werner. She does Fabriano or something. I will find some and list some in a blog post. I will list some recommended watercolor papers that a lot of people use. Or I would say if you're going to invest in anything, decent paper, like investing in really good cardstock is always the key. Like I have a printer here in my desk, and the paper in my printer up here is a heavier inkjet, a heavier paper, just because I use it for printing things. I don't have anything with me I have printed on there handy, but I like to print a lot of things, actually I do. Hold on one second. I creating things like printables. I printed this to show you. When you're coloring on regular paper, it treats the markers very differently, and you probably can't tell because I don't have enough bright light, but the paper piles up, and so it makes it thinner. That's why. I mean, if you're just getting these for your kids, and your kid you don't really care, then that's fine. Or you're coloring, or you're just wanting, like I wouldn't recommend relying these heavily on those coloring books. I have coloring books, but I haven't tested markers out. I'm a colored pencil person. I started in college in colored pencils with Prismacolors, and I just got some Castle Art. I'll be doing those another time. Pencils and colored pencils, and I am a colored pencil person, so I'm new to the whole markers, alcohol markers, water-based markers. I don't do a lot of watercolor. It's not my strong suit. So I have a lot of books, like sketchbooks, and just books that I like to practice in, get my stamps out and practice in, just because the techniques. That's what you do. I like to create. It's good for me mental health wise. It's, if you're creative, definitely coloring and any kind of creativity is good for your mental health. Good just to zone out, Zen doodles. But definitely coloring on like cardstock or like this mixed media. And you'll see when I color over this, now that we let this dry, you're going to be adding on and layering on the color. And then I'll show you right here. It adds on, and then they'll soften and they'll even out when they dry out. They'll even out. But watercolor, is that the right one? That's my wrong one. So I want to show you here. Another thing you can do. I need that purple back. I needed a dark color because I tried these with light colors. Is I do this with Tombows, and you can do this with anything. Tombows, like if you have like one of these papers thing, even if you just have one of these like acetate papers or whatever, you can use it. I just have a stamp. I just grab one of my stamp blocks and I'll color it on here. I'll just do a little color on here, put this on so the marker doesn't dry out, and drop a little water off to the side. I like to do that because I can never control mine. And then you can watercolor and make a watercolor background or watercolor. You can do watercolor techniques with this. And you can dilute it. So you want to dilute, make it a little lighter. Definitely add a little water. You can add water here, like you do. Add water in here. Well, I didn't clean off my brush so you can see. But you see how it's a light wash, and you can definitely come in here, right there. You can definitely come in on here, and you can lighten it. Lighten your color in here, and then do color techniques. I must warn you though, you can't do, you can work with it if you're patient. You can see I'm trying to soften up the edges with my watercolor pen right here. I tell you what, I love these. You can absolutely, if you're good with paintbrushes and water, you absolutely do that. I stink at that kind of stuff because, like I said, I don't do that all the time. If I were to practice, I'm sure I'd get better at it. But you can absolutely, and you'll see right here how I'm creating watercolor. Oops, and then let's clean this off a little here. Do a little more water. I'm almost out of water on this, I think. Do a little more water and then lighten it up a little bit. Right here, I need to grab a paper towel. I keep paper towel in my desk drawer over here. And then you see how that goes, like that. And then I can also use this to clean off my brush here a little bit. It's going to stain. Purples, reds, pinks, it'll stain. And then I'm going to clean this up. And especially if I'm doing stuff, well, I keep water because it's easy to clean off. But if you want like water techniques, you can definitely do that. Some water on there. And then let's get a clean side. You break it up here. And you can see right here how you have watercolor techniques lifted up, like raindrops, and you can do all kinds of things with these water-based markers. If you have dye inks like Simonson stamp. If you have dye inks, like I have a lot of Stampin' Up inks, it's the same thing when you stamp or you dye, and how like you put a little on your block or whatever, and then you watercolor. That's similar to what this is. I use these mainly in like my planners or my journals when I'm coloring, because you can see right here the fine tip. Like I said, these are, I think, marketed towards brush lettering, which I do not, but you can color with these. As you can see, I've colored with these. They color decently. I've done here, like we could do another color here. I'll color again on here. Let's go under here. This is a cute color to go behind pink. Go back here. I am not coloring in the lines. Definitely practice. My opinion, I'm glad I got these. I'm invested in them. And I am looking forward to working with them just to practice techniques using water-based markers. Like I said, I have like a little package of, I have a little tiny package of Tombows. I would love Tombows. I really would love Tombows. I'm going to show you Tombow versus Caliart. Remember, this was all Caliart. Tombow definitely perform a little better. They are a little, a little you get what you pay for. I mean, I'm not saying anything, but they are a little better. They do perform, Tombos do perform a little better. I don't know the complete difference. I just know for practicing and what I want to do with these, they are going to serve me well. I mean, you can see, you can't really see, but Tombow ink goes on a little smoother. This is Tombow, this is the Caliart. It's also the paper, but when you dry them out, here's because this was Tombow, but watercolor. But when they dry out, I mean, look at how nice, look at how like you're doing watercolor techniques. Look at how nice they are. Definitely use these. Because I tell you what, me trying to get paints, watercolor paints, I stink. That's the best way to put it is I stink. I cannot watercolor. I admit I cannot watercolor. Let's throw on some bright color orange. I know it's like, ooh, this doesn't even look. I forgot to add here. This comes with this is the third time I'm doing this, so I'm forgetting everything that I went through before. And it keeps getting shorter and shorter. Mine came with just a DIY color card, and this is 27. So you guys are probably finding it faster than me, but because I'm recording, here it is, 27. See, it doesn't even look remote. You think it would be like a bright orange, but I find the cap colors are not true to a lot of what the colors they are. Even look at that compared to how it comes out and just how it came out right here. So I like to have the color swatch, which I like to do my own swatches because I can do larger areas like you'll see in the front of my book right here. See, I like to do a color. I like to do longer swatches about what I'm doing so I can see how they react doing different lines and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I am so umming and ahhing and and I'm just at a loss of words. I don't have this scripted. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here, and I'm just coloring this. This is a bright color. This is a really nice springy summer. You can do a good beach watercolor scene with this. Let's see how this works with watercolor here. I mean, I know we're coloring and the paper's starting to pile up, but let's smooth this out with some watercolor, shall we? Let's see. Oh, see, I know I have a squeaky noise. Let's see what this is like. Let's get the detailed brush here. Let's see, let's do a little bit here. Oh, it's nice and light. This would be a nice beachy color. Okay, let's spread this out here. I know it looks totally different on screen on your recording than what I am seeing. I am seeing in real life. In real life, this is more of like a bright peach, and the coloring on my video is definitely not that. It's more orange. Let's see here. I'm getting the color off the block and also coloring with what's here. Let's see. This is a nice color. I like it. Very nice color. So let that yeah. Oops. Gotta clean it out here a little bit. Let's do this here. So I got these from Spellbinders in a Spellbinders sale about 2 years ago. Jane Davenport. I was doing a bunch of stuff on Spellbinders. Always has those sales, clearance sales. I like them. I think it was Spellbinders. And I got a bunch of that stuff. So let's clean the block here. That's good enough. Clean, that's good enough. And then we will, like here, it's like really neon. I'm seeing this neon. I don't know if you can tell with the lights. Yeah, see right there, it's really neon. Like a light color up in here. It's a really good color. I like it. But yeah, I mean, like writing, I would totally use these in my journal to color code things in my journal. Let's get a pen that I here that I write. Sorry. Let's see how they work with highlighting. I know, look at my pen has a little cattail. Okay, let's see. Probably have to give it a go. It's gonna smear because of the inks, but it's not so bad. Not so bad. Highlighting, so I would use this in my planner or my journals. Probably a lighter color would do. Even going over itself is not bad. Let's write on top of something. This is blue. And don't forget, because it's water-based, when you go over something, it's going to activate because it's water, so it's going to wet it. So it will smear a little bit. But that's my quick little video for Caliart. I mean, there's not much. I'm not a colorist, so I don't want to waste your guys' time sitting here watching me color. Let's go over here again. I'll show you what I did. It took me probably about, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes. I did a quick color on this. And then you can see here, like blending the colors together. I added these colors together. Have fun with it. Absolutely. If you have a budding artist, I would definitely use these for a budding artist. I would give these to a young budding artist who just wants to practice coloring. Or if you're just starting out in the coloring book phase, try them out. You know, get yourself find out when Michaels has a sale on these sketchbooks and get a couple. And then if you got some stamps, or invest in some stamps, or even print stuff off the internet like I did, and just practice and color before you go into your color. Maybe you don't want to immediately dive into your coloring books. I would absolutely invest in these. I got to use these more as far as like how they perform on other cardstock. I've only done it on this watercolor card that I got. And in here, I haven't actually stamped an image and colored yet. I'm definitely going to be doing that in the future, so I can start using these in my card making, so I can branch out from my colored pencils. But yeah, they come in this container. I'm going to be getting a different carrier. I'm either going to find a place where I keep my other markers, or they have these nice cases for markers and pencils. I have a B one that's really cute that I have my colored pencils in. I'll probably get another one that I'll get and on one of my shelves. I don't have a lot of room, but I would say these are not half bad. I haven't seen a lot of reviews, but on Amazon and some other things that I have Googled to see how these are, I've seen people do some pretty good coloring with these markers, and they also do alcohol based. I don't have any of these in alcohol based, but they had a lot of good reviews, and that's why I invested in them. So I will definitely be putting a short review on Amazon on my opinion of these positive reviews. So be on the lookout for any more reviews. I probably talk fast, but welcome to my first review that I videoed. I hope to see you again soon. Bye.